Welcome to the No Limits podcast with your host, Willy.
All right, we're back. No Limits with Willy. Got a special guest today. We have the Gator Boy himself, Jimmy Riffle. Welcome to the podcast, Jimmy. It's a pleasure to talk.
Likewise. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. We were just talking before we got started. You have a YouTube channel called Into the Wild with Jimmy Riffle, which is really good. I've only seen a few episodes so far. I have a lot of catching up to do. I just discovered it last night, so I'm excited to watch all these animal episodes.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. I mean, when I travel on my road shows, we film a lot of that. All the excursions, all the hiking. We go to a lot of different zoological parks around the country, and then also, I have a lot of animals that we've taken in, and I do a lot of educational outreach stuff with them too on my YouTube channel. So it's educational, fun, exciting, sometimes dangerous. But
yeah, with you guys, it's always dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah, play with the fun animals. I skimmed through your library on your YouTube channel, and I saw you had you traveled to the Dakotas, South and North Dakota. I lived in North Dakota about a year ago. That's pretty damn far from Florida. So you guys are going all over the place, huh?
We do. We go anywhere my truck will get me. And, we travel all over the place. I mean, I've driven all the way to Washington State,
Wow.
Did shows there. And then we went all the way across the U.S. to Maine. So,
wow.
And that was one of our runs. So we were on the road for about 4 months that round. So,
yeah, that's intense. That's some serious road miles right there.
Yep.
What'd you think of North Dakota, man? That's a pretty boring state.
Yeah, the people are very nice, when we're doing these events, with my roadshow company, Scales, Tails, and Teeth. We go out, we do big fairs, festivals, Indian powwows, things like that. And, we get to bring animals that people never get to see: crocodiles, alligators, tortoises, turtles, snakes. And, people really like to see that type of stuff. And we get to bring it to their front doors. And at the same time, we get to see the sights. And, so we enjoy it because we get to travel and work and play all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty cool.
Do you do much field herping when you go to different states?
We do. We try. We at least go out. I try to film it for the YouTube channel. I call most of the states I go to no snake state, because for some reason when I get there, can never find them. So
yeah, I know that feeling.
Arizona by far though is the best state that I've found for that, and a lot of cool reptiles in Arizona. So.
Yeah, dude, that's one of my bucket list states to go herping in, the Sonoran Desert area. I've planned that trip probably 4 times now with some friends, and it always falls through. That one in Costa Rica, I got to get those done, because Arizona is like a big Disneyland for guys like us.
I agree. We went out. My buddy and I went to LA for a couple meetings we had to go to, and we actually drove instead of fly because we like to stop and do things. And my buddy, he grew up in Arizona, so he's familiar with the local area. And we went out road cruising a couple nights, and we found a couple Westerns, couple Mojaves. I think it's a horned viper, I think they have out there also. We found it was a small one, but
like a sidewinder of some kind?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And that's one of my favorites.
It was absolutely awesome. And he kind of crawled up into a little bush and tucked in there. I almost lost him, and we got some cool photos of him and stuff. But by far, Arizona is one of the coolest states that we've been to for herping purposes. But don't get me wrong, each state, has their pluses. Oklahoma, we found a ton of copperheads. We found this road and never found a copperhead outside of like North Florida or Georgia. And we went up there and I saw like 12 in one night. Wow. And it was just a blast, and a lot of cool pictures, a lot of photos, a lot of selfies, that kind of thing.
That stuff's so fun, man. I've been doing that since I was a kid as well. I have a buddy up here. We're both from Louisiana originally, and we're living in North Colorado now, just north of Denver. So there's a lot of fun stuff out here to go look forward to. We've been finding shorthorn lizards and hognoses and
awesome.
Prairie rattlesnakes. But, man, I cannot wait to get to the Southwest area. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to most likely do it next year, but I've been saying that for the last 5 years. So
you just got to do it, man. And, I could talk, just because I travel for work. So I get lucky. But a lot of times, though, I don't have the free time to where I can actually spend like 3-4 days. It's literally like one night we'll get there. I'll drive all night just to get there. So I have like a few hours, and then it never works out. But this time we went specifically a couple days early to spend like 2 full days in Arizona. So it was worth the trip. Yeah, it was definitely cool to do.
Can you explain to the listeners that, because I have a big MMA following, so this is my first real wildlife guest. I'm going to have a lot of good wildlife guys on, and women, but not everybody knows the terms herping and road cruising that are just second nature to us. Can you explain those? Because I'm sure you could do a better job explaining to me.
Yeah, I mean, herping, is going out, checking out the reptile fauna, like all the different reptiles in a location area, and you got to do your homework, because when you're out herping, you're looking for pretty much anything that crosses the road, or if you're walking, looking, you come across venomous, you're non-venomous, and, I get told all the time, man, I just killed this water moccasin, and they showed me a photo, it was a water snake. And, so herping is more so just going out, enjoying the wildlife, reptiles particularly, and, and road cruising is, you mentioned that, right?
Yep.
Road cruising is just basically hanging out with your buddies in your car or your girl and cruising these dark roads in the middle of nowhere and hoping that you come across some really cool reptiles. And we have, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Florida is one of the areas I would love to road cruise as well. Arizona is a must. There's so much cool stuff you can see out there. I just got my wife into doing it. The kids come with us. I have 2 little girls, and they come with us too, and they hate it. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to go road cruising." They just sit in the vehicle and they're bored. They want to get out and do stuff. I'm like, it's too dangerous for y'all to get out. Just watch the cool stuff that we find.
Exactly. Let mom and dad go out and have fun.
Just let us do the cool stuff, and you watch your iPad or something.
Exactly. I'm lucky. Sarah, from the show as well, my fiance, she loves going out herping too. So it kind of works out good where if we have a night we don't know what to do or can't figure out anything to do, we go cruising. And, and like I said, most nights it's a bust, you find a couple little things, nothing crazy. And then, then you'll go out one night and find 2 rattlesnakes. So, just
you've got
a lot of cool stuff.
Y'all have the Eastern Diamondbacks too, which would be so much fun to road cruise.
Yeah, I found quite a few. Unfortunately, I found I think it was 3 dead on the road. So, that sucked seeing that. But we also have the pygmy here in Florida.
Oh, yeah, I love pygmies.
We have the northern Florida where I'm at now in Tallahassee. We have the canebrake rattlesnake, which you can find in more central north, like Lake City, and then up out of there. But, down in South Florida, we don't have the canebrakes down in South Florida. But where I'm at right now, we can find copperheads, canebrakes, easterns, coral snakes. You can find them all. So you get the grand slam of venomous snakes of Florida up here in North Florida. So
that's a lot of fun. My buddy that I was mentioned earlier that moved up here too, he lived in Louisiana about maybe a year longer than I did after I moved to North Dakota for work. And him and I spent so many hours road cruising and hiking, looking for stuff. I was on a mission to find canebrakes, coral snakes, and I was having terrible luck. I think I found maybe 2 canebrakes, but one was freshly killed off on the road, and the other one, I don't remember the situation. But as soon as I left, this little punk found so much stuff, man. He found corals, road cruising, not even going hiking for them. He road cruised tarantulas, Texas browns, and canebrakes. Like, he was finding so much stuff. I just want to strangle him sometimes. He finds more stuff than I do.
Well, you always have that one friend. We have a friend of ours that lives more central, and he posts all the time coral snakes left and right, and all these other snakes. And it's like, I'll go out. Sarah, she's never seen a wild coral snake before. So like my mission is to be able to find a wild coral snake. And since we've been together in the 8.5 years, 9 years, we have not found a wild coral snake for her to see.
She's coral snake repellent like I am. I can't find them either.
I know, it's crazy. And then my buddy posts 5-6 of them that he saw in a 3-day period. And it's like, crazy. Okay, we're coming to hang out with you for a couple days.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my buddy's good at finding rough green snakes in Louisiana. He could always find those. When I was a kid, we could find them all the time because I grew up in Houma, it's very south Louisiana, and they were plentiful out there. But as I got older, man, we couldn't find them that much anymore. But he has a couple hot spots, and he was really good at finding them. We get people to come out there with us that never found them before either.
Did you shine them like
Yeah.
in the trees? Okay, yeah.
That seems to work the best because they're
Yeah.
hard to spot just with the naked eye.
Yeah, the bellies are like reflective almost to a point. Yeah. We did the same thing down here for what do you guys rough greens? Is that what you called them?
Yeah, but I don't know. He knows taxonomical names and scientific names.
Scientific stuff. Yeah, I'm still learning all that. The crocodilians I got down pretty good, but everything else I'm still, I've been doing this my whole life. But growing up, I never was in an academic side of things. I was always on the hands-on part.
Exactly.
And, now, getting older, a lot of my friends, they're academics, plus hands-on. So when I'm around them, they speak the scientific lingo. And I'm like, what'd you just say?
Star Trek language.
Exactly. So now it's like I had to learn it so I could actually understand what they're talking. Because if I said, just for an example, like American crocodile is Crocodilius acutus, if I said American crocodile, some people are going to look at me and like, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
To an academic. They only say acutus because that's all they know that crocodile as. So it gets pretty technical when it comes to academics on that side of things. But I'm still learning it as well, man. So don't feel bad. I'm right there with you. So.
With what you do, though, you're traveling and you're teaching not mostly common folk type people that have a slight interest in it, very ignorant to a lot of the stuff. So common names alone is hard for them to remember. And so that's like my mindset. Like and I talk to people that don't care for reptiles or just learning about it. It's the common name is the easiest for them to obtain and remember and pass on to their friends, and they can actually learn the correct common name. You throw Latin names and scientific names and all that stuff, it's just like they're overwhelmed and they don't want to learn it. Me and my buddy argue about this all the time.
Exactly. I'm the same. Yeah. When I'm on the road, talking to, fans or just people I don't know the show, they come out and, we're just another thing at the fair. They come and do our, our reptile walkthrough. And, I never drop scientific stuff name wise, unless somebody's showing that interest in it. And then, I'll get into it a little bit more. But for the most part, I keep it very simple. When I'm talking to people, I tell them to dumb it down for me. It's like, I don't know what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to be on the same level as those people, but you have to put your work in for that and your time and effort and to do that. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm in the book or on the internet reading about all this stuff. And it's like, man, I didn't know that's what that was called, but
there's so much to learn, man. I've been into this since I was a kid. I'm 36 now, and I'm sure you've been into it as a kid too. Every year you can learn new stuff. There's new species that I'm finding out every now and then too that blows my mind that I didn't even know existed. But man, it's so much fun, and I think to keep it common names, it makes it much more relatable for the average Joe that's trying to learn and appreciate these things.
Oh, for sure. I agree with you 100%. And, if you start talking all the scientific stuff, you're going to lose them.
Yep.
They're going to lose interest. They're not going to, you say Naja, Naha, that's the cobra. They're like, what?
Yeah, what'd you call me?
But exactly. But if you say cobra, their attention's going to be on you. They're going to like, oh, what'd you say, a cobra? So yeah, I agree with you fully. I want to go back on something you said. You said you were planning to go to Costa Rica and haven't. Is that, or you said that's a bucket list?
It's a bucket list. I've planned it probably 3 times now with some friends, and it almost happened several times, but hasn't happened. I saw you went there as well, right?
Yeah, that was always a bucket list place, and especially my dad's bucket list was Costa Rica forever. And we finally we went to Costa Rica, I would say a year and a half ago, something like that. And man, when you get the time, it was amazing. And I didn't get to find all the snakes I wanted to find, but Fertilance was a big one that I really wanted to find. And
you didn't see
we went out, none. And the people we were with, they're like, this never happens. We always see Fertilance. And I'm like, well, I'm here in Costa Rica. So what do you want me to say? But I was lucky enough, though. There is a couple facilities in Costa Rica. I forget the name of it, but I got to handle like this huge Bushmaster. And, it was probably 7.5, 8 feet. And it was just a monster of a snake and very deadly snake. And I was a kid in a candy store, and we actually got to handle it and hook it. And, the snake hook basically was bending when you had them on it. It was cool. We hiked in the rainforests and the cloud forests, and it was just a really cool experience. And it was just, we saw one wild eyelash viper, which was neat, but he was
one of my favorites.
He was in heaven in a tree. Couldn't get to him. And I'm not a small guy, so I don't do well climbing like that. So I figured that's not a good thing for me. I'll fall out and then never come home from Costa Rica. So, but
were you able to get a picture of him?
Yeah, but it was terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't have my iPhone yet. I just had my Android at the time. And I took the picture. It looks like a yellow flower sitting at the top of the tree. But it was, I mean, I know what it is, so that excites me on top of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just was, we were in a place called, I think it was called Tortuguero, which is an island that you have to take a boat to get to this island. But I'll tell you one thing I did find. I found my first coral snake that I found in Costa Rica. Yeah, it was amazing. Yep.
That's awesome.
So that was on the island, and it was our last day on the island, last morning. And my dad, myself, and a friend of ours, Flavio, we were walking around the rainforest, the jungle. We saw howler monkeys. I mean, it was really, really good time. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I look ahead of us. And just remember, we just walked this trail, so we're heading back. So this snake had to have been there. We just didn't see it, or he slithered up. Mm-hmm. We're walking back, and then all of a sudden, this thing's sitting right in, like, off the trail, and my heart just, like, started pounding. And I was, like, grabbing Flavio. I'm like, do you see it? Do you see it? Am I seeing things? And it was a coral snake. And, you know, I did catch it. You know, we let it go, but you know, I talked about it a little bit. It's on my YouTube channel. You can see the coral snake and the Costa Rica stuff. And, but it was just a very, you know, for any of us watching, for the reptile enthusiasts, finding a coral snake in Costa Rica, that's a big deal, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's
a huge deal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, but
cool.
we have plans of going back, and, you know, I was supposed to go to the Amazon not too long ago, and that didn't work out. But my buddy, a couple friends went. But if you ever want to go on trips, though, you know, I have a buddy that he has his own travel company. Amazing guy. And Flavio, he travels all over the world, and he sets these trips up, man. It's amazing.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. And it's all inclusive. Yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll go on a trip together somewhere.
That'd be a lot of fun, man.
We'll go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down. It's fun to be with people with like-minded interests, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
My wife went road cruising for the first time in Colorado with us. She did it in Louisiana with us as well, but not a whole lot because she's a trooper and always watched the kids for us. But her first night, the other night, she found a western milk snake crossing the road. I was getting ready to pull over to do a U-turn, and she's like, "There's a snake in the road." And she said, "Milk snake." She called it. I was like, "Really?" And I was like, "What?" I looked and I saw it, and it was crossing the road coming from a little water hole across the other road.
That's awesome.
So exciting, man. And I was like, "Man, your first snake you road cruise is a milk snake."
Is that the one you have on your page that you posted?
Probably. I have a few of them.
It's small. It's in your hand, like it's in your palm of your hand.
That little one is the one my buddy found. He's been finding a lot of milks. I've only found maybe one or two, and I walked mine the other night, walking in that same field that this one came from, and that's an incredible sight to see when you're just walking in a dry Colorado grassland field, and you see that beautiful red, yellow, black pattern. It's like, whoa, like, is that real? Am I hallucinating?
Exactly.
That's
you
so
got to
much
pinch
fun.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy to think. Yeah.
The little kid in me comes out, man. We've been having a lot of luck lately. My wife walked a hognose the other day. It was running in between. I just passed it. And it was booking it, like coming towards my direction while my back was turning. She's like, "There's a hognose." I turned around. I was like, "Holy crap, girl, you good luck." So she got a hognose and a western milk in just like a 2-week span.
Wow, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
I went out to California. We were actually on the road, but we had like a week and a half off. So we went to Yellowstone for a couple days and then got kicked out of there from fires that they had a few years back. So then we were heading to Death Valley. And so right before that, we got there though, we were cruising these little roads. I found my first wild California king snake.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's one of those things too. I mean, it's like, you're so used to seeing them in the pet trade and, you know,
stunning.
Seeing people have them as pets are stunning, but seeing them actually in the wild though is, you know, really neat. So.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of Colorado in the south side. So we're planning a trip there within the next few weeks to go hit up New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma border area. There's a lot of cool stuff
Awesome.
out there that's different than North Colorado. So we're
Okay.
looking forward to that trip. Hopefully we can spot a California king down there too. That'd be
That's awesome.
incredible.
You plan on putting this stuff on your YouTube channel?
No, I talked about that with my friend. We were talking about doing like a herping channel just because we do so much stupid stuff, and it'd be fun to have document this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and we're
for sure.
we're polar opposites too. Like I'm a dad with a dad bod and just creeping on 40. He's early 20s, very emo looking, and just like we look like polar opposites, but he's like a little brother of mine.
That's awesome.
I think it'd
Very
make
cool.
funny content. He's so good at finding stuff too.
That's awesome.
I blame it on my eyes going bad. I'm like, man, my vision's going out on me, dude. Can't spot stuff as good as you. He literally found a baby milk snake about that big on the road at nighttime while we were road cruising. I'm like, how the hell did you see that?
Yeah,
There's
Sarah's
no way I
the
can see
same
that.
way. I'll zip past it, and then she's like, "There was a snake in the road." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No," and we turn around, it's sitting right there. I'm like, "Oh, it was a little water snake like this big." I'm like,
Wow.
okay."
She's good.
I want to get my eyes checked.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are still together. I only know the Gator Boy side of your relationship, but I always liked you guys as a couple. You make a good couple.
Thank you. Yeah, it stays fun, stays interesting.
Yeah.
You know, she's a pain in the butt sometimes, but
Yeah, my wife is too. They're the worst. You have I did watch one episode of your YouTube channel this morning with the alligator snapping turtles that you have.
Okay.
That's my favorite animal by far. I love that animal. I had a nice pair of them before I moved to North Dakota for work out of Louisiana. I had to get rid of. Really bummed me out because I wanted to have them forever and let my kids inherit them and everything.
Yep.
I had to get rid of them. I had a beautiful pair that were adults.
How big were they? Roughly.
They're like right on. See, I can show you. They're one of the first pictures I ever put on Instagram because I didn't know anything about Instagram, and a buddy of mine told me to get on it and start putting wildlife stuff on there. I was like, I don't know what to put on Instagram, man. I'm not tech savvy.
Man, I'm telling you, free social media, dude. free advertising.
Yeah, for sure. I use the hell out of it now. I'm more on Instagram than Facebook. So
Oh yeah, me too, by far.
All that stuff.
Yeah, I'm same way.
My mail was really dirty with algae in the pitcher. They're sitting in a Rubbermaid container.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know if it's clearing up.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, it's cool as heck.
Yeah, I love those guys, man. It was Lewis and Anna because I lived in Louisiana.
That's awesome.
But it worked. I'm gonna probably get another one. I have some turtles right now too. I have my backyard right now is pretty much like 60% lawn pond. There's two ponds, and it's a stream that connects to both of them. So I have a very aquascape backyard right now. And I got a map turtle out there. I got some baby pink belly side necks inside that are in my little nursery tank. Yellow bellies. Yeah. I got out of keeping hots. I used to have a lot of hots too. That used to be a big thing of mine when I lived in Louisiana, but I don't have permits for any of the states I live in now. So I just
gotcha.
I got little kids. I just got out of the hobby for now. When they get older and they move out, I will definitely get back in.
Get back into it. Yeah.
It's just so awesome.
Yeah. My snapping turtles, I have one that probably the one that you saw, I think, on the photo or that video, he's probably around 30 pounds roughly. And then I have one that I really don't showcase too much, but he's about 70 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then a buddy of mine, the same one that I went to LA with, he has one that's monstrous. Its name is Kong, I think so. Kong.
Good
man,
name.
This thing is gigantic. Like, it'll bite your arm off if you let him.
Yeah, when they get huge like that, they're just so awesome looking. They're just like a modern dinosaur. It's such an awesome animal. Anytime I go to a Cabela's or a Bass Pro and they have something on display or something like that, I turn into a little kid. I get so excited to look at them.
I'm the same way. I handle alligators every day, and when I see an alligator in the lake or the pond, I'm still like, oh my God, it's an alligator. But yeah, we still get excited. So that's when you know you love what you do. So.
Yeah, definitely, which is very important.
Yeah.
Are you guys done with Gator Boys, the TV show? Is that over with?
Yeah, we haven't filmed in a few years. We never got really a reason, basically why it ended. It just did.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good run. You know, we got our message out there to a lot of different people, and, you know, it gave me my footing. I was doing road shows prior to that, but it really opened the door for me to travel more on a larger scale with all the different animals, and not just alligators, you know, like we were talking, you know, snakes and tortoises and turtles. And, you know, people they don't have the opportunity to go to a zoo, or, you know, maybe they live somewhere that the zoo's 3 hours away, you know? Yeah. So when I go to these little fairs, sometimes these fairs are in the middle of nowhere, you know, they're country fairs. So when we go out there, you know, I bring Nile crocodiles, I bring alligators, caimans, I have my bond to exhibit venomous. I only bring those on specific shows that want them, but we bring a lot of cool animals and reptiles. And so basically it's a traveling roadshow like zoo. So it's all reptiles, and we open up a huge like 40 by 40 exhibit with 15 to 20 different reptiles, and it's I have info sheets on it. I'm in the walkthrough the entire time, and we talk to everybody coming in. I do 2-3 little interactive shows daily with a couple of the reptiles I pick, and it's very educational. It's exciting. It's, you know, it's something a little different, you know, like you know, I'm known for alligator wrestling, what I did growing up, and, you know, that's what I started when I was 11 years old. And, you know, I'm kind of getting out of the wrestling more so. You know, my direction now is more on the more educational side of things, you know, and more of the conservation side of things. And, you know, we help a lot with a thing called Croc Fest, which is here in Florida. If you ever get the chance, you love reptiles, come to Florida to Croc Fest, you'll have a blast, man. It's huge names in the reptile business come from all over the world. And when I'm telling you all over the world, they come from Australia, they come from Africa, they come from South Central America, Cuba. All these people come, and they all get together, and we raise money for crocodilians specifically. The last one was the American crocodile, which is native to South Florida. A lot of people don't know we have a crocodile that's native to Florida. And then that same crocodile, though, is also native to Cuba, native to Belize, central Mexico, central Florida. Let me slow down. So Mexico, Central America, South America, parts of South America. So you do have them ranging all over the place. And the money went to, 6-7 different organizations that do conservation work for that species. So CrocFest is a really cool program that's out there, because like you and I both know, if it doesn't have fur and it's not cuddly, most people don't care about it.
Right.
So it's really hard to get people to relate how we all relate to these animals, because these animals all play important roles, in the ecosystem and where they're from, So, it's just a really neat thing. And the last one was at a place called St. Augustine Alligator Farm, which is in St. Augustine, Florida. And they have every known crocodilian species at their facility.
Wow, in the world?
It's yep.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
They do saltwater crocodile feedings. The croc's name is Maximo. He jumps out and grabs chicken and rats. I mean, it's just
That's
a
exciting.
really neat place. Yeah. But, so I'm very passionate about it because it's something that, it's something that I feel strongly about, and it's neat to be able to, for example, the American croc is native to Jamaica. In Jamaica, a lot of other places, poaching is a big problem when it comes to these animals. It could be the locals poaching them and eating them for a source of food. They find them with their tails cut off, things like that. Some of the money, though, went to hire personal private security for helping protect that species in Jamaica, and went to a couple different organizations there. That kind of stuff, though, I find awesome, trying to help that species,
Yeah, that's a really cool thing to add to your legacy in the reptile world, too. Cool to be a part of.
Yeah,
that's an annual event that happens in Florida?
Normally they do it twice a year. They have summer and winter Croc Fest. And I post it on my social media constantly, when it's coming up. Because of the pandemic and this COVID thing, the summer Croc Fest was canceled. Hang on, was the winter? one of them was canceled because of this pandemic, but
Yeah.
they are planning on having one, I believe, this coming summer if everything works out accordingly with this pandemic thing. So
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fly down there and check that out. That sounds like a really good time.
oh
I'll,
yeah, you'll have a
I'll
blast.
I'll put a bunch of links to that too in this episode notes, so people can find out more about it. Do you do any kind of presentations or vendoring there, or do you just attend?
I just attend. The show hasn't been on air now for a few years. I mean, we still have a huge following. When I do these fairs, people still drive 4 or 5 hours from the fair location to come see us.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to use our name to help draw people in to this type of event. Trying to get people that, like I said, they may not be a huge crocodilian lover, but hey, if I can get them to come meet me and then they hang out and they pay the admission, then maybe one out of those, 8 people will actually fall in love with something like that. And that's what it's all about, getting people to see what we see, with these animals, because they're not just the man eaters that everybody makes these animals out to be,
Right. For sure.
But
I had a Ocean Ramsey affiliate who works with her mermaid Kayla Grant, I believe her name is, on my other podcast talking about shark conservation, and I learned a lot of good stuff about that. All that stuff is so important, and I love that you guys are all getting the mix with that and help educate that. With your road show that you do, how do you book your location? Like, what do you go for? Just an event that's going on?
yeah, so what we do is, we have Scales, Tails, and Teeth. It's a family run business. I go out. Sarah doesn't travel anymore with us, but I go out. I haul the trailers, the animals. My dad's my manager, so he does all the bookings for it. My older brother does all of the finances and the website stuff and things like that. And so we do a lot of conventions. So like in San Antonio, Texas, every year, they hold a big event, which is like a 3-day convention where all of the fair managers, things like that, come to this convention looking for new entertainment, new talent for their fairs. So we rent booths and we promote ourselves, and, of course I, play the Gator Boys card when I do it because, it draws people into the fair, but also at the same time, you're getting that draw, but you're also getting a really cool exhibit and you're getting shows that's being done at the same time. So it's kind of a win-win, in that situation.
Absolutely. When we go
most
off
of the
air,
time,
I want to talk to you about some other opportunities with that I know some connections with. I think it might be to get you some more shows that would benefit you and the other guy.
Well, the road shows is just me. Yeah.
I mean, for you to, I don't know, perform, I guess you can say that, present your shows at.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any venomous encounters where you've been tagged or anything like that with snakes?
I've been handling venomous hot snakes my entire life since I've been, I would say probably 13 years old. I started handling, I started training a little earlier than that when I was at the zoo, but I didn't really start doing my shows with the venomous till about 13. I've never been physically bit by a live snake. Let me put it that way. So
that sounds interesting.
We actually had, it was a small Eastern diamondback. It died and I was skinning it out, and a dead venomous snake is just as dangerous as a live venomous snake. And I was skinning them out. The owner wanted the skins. They used to make like stuff on animals that naturally died or just randomly died. Instead of just throwing it away, he would, use that animal to help bring funds in to help run the facility. So I was skinning them out, and long story short, I pricked my finger. And it was just it was a neonate, little Eastern diamondback, just a little guy. And luckily it just swelled a little bit, didn't get bad, must have not taken much in, but that's the only physical thing that's gone into my body was from that one dead snake.
That's lucky.
I got very fortunate. There was one other situation that happened. I mean, there's a lot of situations happen, but this one in particular stands out the most. I was at the Native Village, the zoo I used to work at when I was young, and I was carrying the hot box that we had them in that had a glass front, had screen on top, and we were always taught to never put our hands on the top because they can bite and
Right.
go through the screen. So, and we're always supposed to carry the glass facing out because of, them being heat sensing snakes. You don't want to put that against your chest because that's just a solid mass of just ice.
Right. Makes sense.
So I was rushing, didn't think about it. I picked up this thing, and there was probably a 3.5 foot, 4 foot Western Diamondback in it. And I was carrying this box. I got right next to this 11.5, 12 foot alligator's enclosure, and all of a sudden, all the glass shattered. And it's against my chest. And first instinct was, don't move. And then my second instinct was, holy shit, this thing senses heat. I'm like, okay. So I threw this cage up on the railing of the alligator cage, and luckily there was a half circle of glass that stayed in the bottom right corner. Everything else was completely gone. That snake's head was literally behind that little piece of glass that was left.
Whoa.
And he struck the glass and shattered it. That's how it broke. And
wow.
If it bit me, it would have bit me right here.
Oh, that would be fatal, most likely.
I talked to a doctor friend, and they said, yeah, you probably wouldn't have made that one.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Count my blessings.
That's just some divine intervention right there, man.
Let me put it this way. I went home. I went home after that one.
That is nuts, man. I haven't had any close calls that scary, man. Damn, that's intense.
Now, alligators are a different story, but venomous snakes, I've been very fortunate, knock on wood. I got a wood desk here. So, yeah, I just, I've been very fortunate, and I'm not cocky. I'm not one that brags, but, I've been handling these animals pretty much my entire life. So,
right.
Instinct that kicked in from something like that and handling, have I showboated in the past? Yes. I mean, I started when I was, just becoming a teenager, and
right.
I wasn't even in high school yet. So of course, showboating was definitely something that came about. And that's when a lot of the stuff happened, when I let my guard down, I got complacent, things like that. But I've been lucky.
Yeah. Damn, man, that's nuts. Yeah, I'm terrified to get bit. I used to work with some younger guys in Louisiana, because Louisiana, you had to get a permit for big constrictors or venomous snakes. You had to have over 500 hours of husbandry. And I would work with some young guys that were trying to get that and help them maintain their hours. And I always told them, I said, man, if you guys get bit after I'm working with you, it's going to be so disappointing. Like, don't ever use that as a bragging point. That's nothing to brag about. That's the worst thing that can happen in the hobby. Like, take that shit serious, man. I just don't want that to happen. I don't want anybody connected to me to ever get bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's accidents. You can't help accidents.
Right.
Something like the glass break-in. I mean, I didn't follow protocol. Glass should never have been against my chest, but it was an honest mistake, and it could have taken my life.
Right.
But that was on me.
Yeah.
If I'm ever handling a snake, I won't. I mean, have I free-handed before? Yes, but I'm mainly 99% of the time by the book. I handle each animal like it's my first time every time.
Yeah.
And yes, you do get complacent. You do get, a water dish needs to be changed, and you're like, man, I don't feel like taking the snake out. So you try to find something to block the snake so you can reach in and,
been there, done that.
Stuff like that, which I've done plenty of times like you have.
Yeah.
But that's that one thing, though. That's that one time that you don't follow what you're supposed to, you're going to get tagged.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
You don't know how you're going to react to that bite. I don't know if I'm allergic to bees. I've been stung by bees. It's never affected me. But, most people that are allergic to bee stings are allergic to certain type of venomous bites, specifically pit vipers. And I don't want to find out.
Yeah. The thing to keep in mind too for the listeners, Jimmy's got hours and hours of handling experience and time with them too. So just the few near misses you've had is incredible for your record. You've constantly but taking care of reptiles, and to have that little amount of near misses is incredible.
There's more, but you don't have enough time on your podcast. No, but like on a serious note, though, like dangerous like that, yes, it's been a handful of times, which I've been very fortunate on.
Gators are separate. That's just that's fun stuff, playing with dragons, basically. But
they can be dangerous though.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. I almost lost this. Almost lost this finger right here. I don't know if they'll focus on it. But that whole
Oh yeah, I see it. Yep.
that whole ring finger was 24 stitches. That finger almost came off from about a 6 or 7 footer. Nothing that big. Playing
Really?
with him too much and pushing my limits. Um,
Where was that? Louisiana?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up playing with wildlife way too much, and when my wife is from a couple hours outside of Chicago, so they're not used to that at all.
Okay.
So when I brought her down, I had to show her wildlife from my point of view, and obviously got stupid with it, being a dumb guy. Played with this gator for too long, and I was taking his face and closing it basically and pulling him to the bank. He was like, I don't know if he was getting fed too much or what by the public, but he was like a zoo gator, man. He had a very personable temperament, and he was just super relaxed and cool. So I kept pushing, and I played with him for over an hour. And I went to grab his face again and raise him up off the bank, and didn't realize I stuck my hand inside of his mouth because his mouth was like this under the surface of the water, just partially open. Stuck my hand right in there and touched his palate, and he just shut it real fast. Wasn't aggressive or anything. It was just a reaction thing. And him doing that,
it was just a quick pop.
Yep.
It was a pot let you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. If he would have grabbed my hand and pulled me in, that would have been rough. I would have definitely lost that hand. But he was a cool gator. But unfortunately, I think since he was so personable and getting fed too much, he lost his fear of humans. And then I think wildlife fisheries had to remove him.
Yeah,
Not
that's most cases.
My stuff was all private.
Yeah, in most cases, it's when they become a nuisance, and for people that don't know what I'm talking about. So, we ran a rescue or still, I don't trap, Paul does trap full time in South Florida. I live in North Florida. I take alligators in from trappers and animals that, other zoological parks I take in. But these animals we get because they are a nuisance animal. Alligators that have been fed by people, naturally all animals have a natural fear of us. And
Absolutely.
when you throw that alligator or any animal, a bear, a raccoon, feral cats, everything, you throw food to them, they now all of a sudden they put you and the food as one. Mm-hmm. And that animal doesn't know the difference between you and I. All they know is that some two-legged creature fed me and I'm going to go eat. And then that's when the crap happens and the gator gets called in on, and then most trappers will put them down. Yeah. So it's a raw end of the deal on that animal. And it's our negligence. It's our stupidity that causes that.
So the moral of that story, listeners, don't feed wild animals. Don't feed wild alligators, especially because it's just going to kill them in the long run.
And you're going to get someone hurt.
Yeah.
You can either hurt or killed.
Yeah, because they lose their fear and then they push their boundaries. I used to kayak in the same body of water that they were at. There's tons of alligators in there. It was a really great spot for wildlife. And I would kayak right next to them, and they would dive in the water. Huge ones, way bigger than me. They could definitely flip my kayak if they wanted to and throw me across the lake if they wanted. But they had that natural fear, so they would get off their basking spot and take off. That's the way they should react.
Exactly. Yep.
Without a doubt. The listeners,
No, I'm agree. I'm backing you up. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Appreciate it. Something I wanted to talk to you about, which is fascinating to me as a herper guy who loves this kind of stuff too, and the state you live in, is the invasive species that are in Florida. It's a lot of fun for guys like me and you. I'm sure you might be burnt out on it, but you guys have so much crap in Florida that's not supposed to be there that would be interesting to find, but I know it's harmful to the ecosystem. What's some of the craziest stuff you've
and
seen?
There's, and I'll be honest with you, it sucks, honestly, because, we've all worked very hard. I'm permitted here in the state, and, here in Florida, the requirements is a lot of times like 1,000 hours of hands-on experience with that particular species. So like rattlesnakes, you need 1,000 hours. You're a lapid, you need 1,000 hours. Your Helodermidae, you need 1,000 hours. So they classify them all in 1,000-hour categories. So you can imagine the hours that are put in to getting these type of animals and these permits the right way.
Doing it the right way.
And then it takes people that, before you didn't need permits to own big retics or big pythons or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Now in the state of Florida, you need to have what's called a conditional species permit, a CSP. And, it's people that, and once again, I'm going back to pet owners that, they didn't know what to do with their 12-foot python. It bit their kid, or they got sick of feeding it. They opened the back door and just let him go,
Cute
that
as a
hurts
juvenile
us.
And then let them go when they become
Exactly, but that hurts us as the permit holders here in Florida, because now the legislation, they're trying to pass laws to where they're they're trying to ban iguanas from people owning them, tegus, and it's all because of them being an invasive species here in Florida. Are they a problem? Yes, they shouldn't be here. But once again, I go back to, that's not that animal's fault. Those animals are here either from people being stupid, letting them go, or they got out, they escaped because they didn't have the proper enclosures. Now if a tree fell on it, you can't help that. I mean, it is what it is. That's just, you report it, they find it. If not, there's something out. But, have I caught stuff? Yes. We've caught big pythons, before, but out of all my years of going out herping, especially in South Florida where I'm born and raised, and I just moved up to Tallahassee probably 3.5 years ago. So out of those 3.5 years being up here,
you got a cameo.
Dog.
What's the dog's name?
That one is Raven.
Raven. That's my daughter's.
We're in my camper right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but honestly though, it's a terrible thing, because bottom line, they're trying to pass these laws, in Florida, which they're going to ban ownership. But for people that have spent their life and dedication, and it's our job. I mean, we make our living by doing educational shows, teaching people about these animals, and now they're going to tell me I can't own an iguana. That's pretty messed up.
It is, man. What you're saying is so parallel to gun rights. It's so similar. People not properly taken care of, having guns, and the wrong kind of people getting them, and then all the people that are responsible are getting threatened to have their guns taken away in different states, and their laws are getting stricter. It's dumb people ruining it for people that actually do it the right way, which is
exactly
super unfortunate.
It is. I have a lot of friends in this business, and a lot of big name friends in this business, and been breeding animals their entire life, and 30, 40 plus years, breeding iguanas. And after 35, 40 years of breeding iguanas, now they're going to say, the iguanas are detrimental to the environment. They've been here forever. You might as well consider them native.
Right.
Iguanas, they eat some foliage, but in my opinion, the worst thing they do is poop on your seawall. That's it. I'm sorry you have to go spray off poop off your seawall, but, it's just, it's something that irritates me, and it's like, for me to have like my green anaconda, I have to have a permit to have that green anaconda. And, it's
glad you mentioned that. I wanted to ask you about the green anaconda. I saw that video as well. I saw your unboxing video, and I was so excited for you, because when you get a reptile shipped to you, it's like the greatest thing ever. I've been doing that since I was a kid, and nothing compares to that feeling of unboxing, though you know what it is inside of it.
I know.
It's so
I
exciting.
agree.
I was watching your videos like, oh my God, what is it? What is it?
And honestly, I'll be honest with you. When I unveiled that snake, I did not see the snake at all before that. I literally, the first time I saw it was the first time that I had it on camera.
That's awesome.
And, so that was a big deal. And, I've had anacondas like running the facilities and stuff like that, but personally, I just never had them. And, it was the time for it. And, most people never get to see anacondas in person. And, she is small right now. She's only a couple feet, but, she goes on the road with me. I take her at my event. So when I do these big fairs, she's there with me. And,
she's
people
an ambassador
get to see
for
her.
species.
Exactly. And
that's so cool.
It's awesome to see. She's in this nice big setup, and she has these logs she climbs on. She doesn't like to lay out, which sucks because, they're neat looking when they're out of the water, but she's always just cruising around swimming. So it's pretty neat.
I wanted to ask you, because I didn't notice the date of that video. How long ago was that? And is she still about the same size or a little bit bigger?
Oh, she's bigger than that now.
Okay.
That was probably I would say maybe like about a year ago,
Oh, okay. So
something
she's
like
about
that.
double
Maybe a
that size
little.
now.
Yeah, I mean, I keep the room regulated to a certain temperature. Right now the animals are at a place where I'm kind of leasing. So I'm limited on like building new stuff. So, my room, I keep at a certain temperature where I don't have to feed like once a week. I feed my animals every other week. So I'm on like a 2-week span on these guys. So,
Gotcha.
if I was feeding her how I normally would, yeah, she would probably be about 4 feet now. But, right now she's probably around that 3-foot mark. And when I got her, she was probably around a foot, a little over a foot when I got her. She was a big girl that came out naturally. So,
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, most anacondas, especially yellows, but greens, their demeanor is pretty crappy. And she has yet to bite me.
Wow.
So she's been, I've been very lucky with her. I handle her. I don't handle her as much as I should, but, I do handle her. I take her. I do a lot of kid birthday parties to my local area, taking these animals out. And, some of the kids that I do, the anacondas are their favorite reptile. And, I don't tell them what I'm bringing. I just bring them. And when I took this anaconda, this kid practically like started crying. Like he was so excited to see a green anaconda in person. Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I love kids like that.
I paid him to do that. But
there you go. We'll cut that part out. It was all natural reaction. I worked with the green anaconda probably 15 years ago. That was about 4 to 5 foot range, and that thing was so sweet, man. The feeling of a green anaconda is an incredible feeling. They have such a neat feel as a snake. So anybody that goes to your shows needs to definitely seek that out. That's going to be a highlight for sure. Yeah, they're an awesome species.
Very cool, very neat snake. Yeah.
Are you seeing? I'm sure the Burmese python is probably your biggest in the tegu. Are you seeing a lot of destructive effects with these invasive species in Florida?
The tegus I can see more so, being the problem, and I would say so because, tegus, they're omnivores. They eat everything. Tegus, they don't they don't care. It can be an egg, it can be a piece of meat, it can be a small bug, it could be a fish, it could be fruit. Tegus will eat at anything that's in front of them. So yes, I can see that causing more of an issue for the environment than the big snake. But then again, Burmese pythons, they get big, and they're not from here. Have they ate native stuff? Yes. But, in my professional opinion, I would say that they're not causing as big of a problem as they get made to make sound that they are.
Really? That's interesting.
But, that's coming from me. That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
I have friends that go out. I see people post that they catch 5 a night. I've gone out with people looking for them and we saw none. So it's like, and we'd be in the same general area that all these people are hunting, and I'm not stupid when it comes to snake hunting. I know what I'm looking for. And,
you're an expert.
And it's just, now don't get me wrong. I have caught a couple, but the biggest one we ever caught was probably 10 feet. And this was 10 years ago, so, I mean, they've been here for a while and, could even be longer than that, but I don't like to get into it too much, the whole thing with this, because it definitely, it goes deeper than that here because of this problem, the animals getting reprimanded for it. They're all being killed. They're all being chopped up in scientific studies. And what have they been eating? And it's like, man, come on, these animals, they're living animals, and don't get me wrong, I'm not against hunting or anything like that. Hunting has to be here and everything, but do I think you should, if you find an 18-foot Burmese python, no, I don't think you should kill that animal. I think that snake should be donated to, let's try to teach people, about these animals. Let's teach people why you shouldn't release them in the wild, because they can get this big, they're dangerous, they can do this. But are they stalking people at night and chasing them down and eating people? Absolutely not.
That's all the fear-mongering bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that movie Crawl with the alligators, Crawl came out and people I don't know if you ever saw it.
No, I never even heard of that one.
It was a movie called Crawl. It was this big movie that came out. It was based in Florida. Hurricane came in and gators ate people, and it was in movie theaters. It was a big deal.
Wow.
And it went all over the news, but
I hate the fear-mongering type shows like that. It just does nothing but negative for the hobby and for learning actual natural things about these animals.
Oh, we loved it. We're all getting together going to watch this thing, We want to see how bad it is. But it was it was a good movie. But, my whole, theory behind it is, though, like you said, when you portray those animals like that, people believe it.
Yeah, you're educated, your group's educated, but all these other people that are oblivious to the knowledge about them, and they're seeing this, their perspective is a terrible negative look on it, and then
exactly
next thing you know is let's exterminate all this species and all this crap. It's bad stuff. But that's why it's important for guys like you and everybody in your field to be out there educating everybody and teaching them the good stuff about these animals, because there's a lot of good stuff about them.
Well, I appreciate that. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Both love these animals for a reason.
For sure.
We're from the same planet.
That's right. Yep. There's only one of them, so we need to do our part.
Have you spent much time herping and exploring the Everglades?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I grew up in the Everglades. Yeah, I mean,
really?
Like I said, I was born and raised in Hollywood, Florida. So that's down I don't know if you're familiar with Florida, but so you have Miami. Bit. So you have everyone knows Miami. So
the
Fort Lauderdale
area
is just north of Miami.
Okay.
So I was born and raised there. I grew up in Hollywood, Florida, that general area. But, I mean, every weekend we were in the woods. Like I said, I started volunteering at the zoo when I was 11. So, I was very fortunate because most kids my age, and I had cool parents to where, they'd let me go out with, the older crowd, taking me out to the woods, herping and running these roads. And my mentor, Skeet growing up and, walking around the Fakahatchee Swamp and the Big Cypress and all these different places. And, most 11, 12-year-olds don't get to experience that. So I was very fortunate. I was opened up to it very young, and it's something that I just fell in love with. And, as I got older and started to be able to drive myself, my buddies and I, we'd go out every weekend, either mudding, tearing the trucks up, camping. And, at the same time, we're out mudding, we see a snake crossing the road. Of course, we're going to stop and check it out, because that's just what we do. And so, we've done a lot of it. I mean, we've been a lot of different places, and that's where I grew up, was that area. So it means a lot to me down there. I love that place.
That's awesome. And that's an area of the world I really look forward to going and exploring that I have not been at all. Being from Louisiana, everybody in Louisiana goes for beach vacations to Navarre, Pensacola, Destin area. So we spent a lot of time in those areas, but I've never been on that southeast side of Florida.
Man, that's a haul, man. From Pensacola, that's still it's 7-hour drive, 7.5-hour drive, if not longer.
Florida's a very long state for sure.
It's a very long, boring state to get through.
Really? I love being in Florida. It's one of my favorite states.
Don't get me wrong. I love Florida too, but I'm a lot more intrigued when I go out west, and seeing like the deserts and stuff like that. I mean, and don't get me wrong. Anybody from Florida going to listen to this? I love my state. Don't get me wrong. But
I'll make that the caption of the episode. Jimmy Riffle hates Florida. He hates it. Regrets growing up there.
Yeah.
Clickbait bullshit.
That's right. But I mean, it's just, it is. There's no place like it. I mean, East Coast, you got the ocean. You go south, you got the Keys. You got the Gulf and the Atlantic. If you go a lot further, you got Cuba. But then the west side, you got, before you get to the Gulf, you have the Everglades, and there's no place in the world like it, and I will say that being up here in North Florida, I miss the Everglades, because we have swamps up here. We have more forests than anything, but
like pine forest type terrain.
Yeah.
Okay,
like cool. Pine forest, your state park, stuff like that, but national
where your
forest.
Starlit Kings are at.
Yep. I've catch a lot of those up here.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Scarlets. So I mean, literally, it was probably a week ago we saw one. I was in my.
Wow.
Here you go. We have a storage unit. We have some stuff in. So I went to go take a couple things to the storage unit, and I opened it up. I put a couple things in. I was about to put it down, and I looked down right under the door where the big sliding door hits the concrete. Scarlet king snake's in it right there.
What? Oh my god!
And I was like, at
I
first,
would have did a cartwheel.
Oh man, and it's funny. It's like I know what I'm looking at, but in my head I'm like, okay, red's touching. Okay, yep, okay,
Yeah,
yep.
you still got to go through it.
Yep. Yep. And if it took off, I'm like, okay, I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they're Scarlet Kings are absolutely awesome snakes. They're really neat. Very neat snakes.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest, man. That's so awesome. I'm jealous. You got me all. I'm gonna have to go road cruising tonight now. You got me amped up.
It's starting to storm here, so it actually would probably be a good night to run here too, since how hot it's been.
Yeah.
When the rain comes out, a lot of different stuff comes out during that rain.
That's when we'd find the most copperheads, is when it would rain in Louisiana. Yep. Man, we were finding copperheads in January in Louisiana. It's crazy.
Wow.
January in Colorado is you're just in a snow globe, basically.
Exactly.
It just started to get warm here about a month ago. So we've been out herping nonstop, road cruising like crazy, trying to get it in while we can, because this is our
better hurry. You only got a couple months left.
I know. It'll be over soon. Yeah, I got to get that Arizona trip planned and actually make it happen, and the Costa Rica one.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, awesome trips for sure.
Do you have any plans of coming through Colorado for your Scales, Tails, and Teeth roadshow?
We did have a show that was interested. Honestly, though, with this pandemic that happened, my whole entire summer has basically been canceled. I have one show right now that I think Ohio is still going to happen, and Minnesota possibly. But all my other shows are a no-go. They've already canceled and moved it to next year. So
yeah, Minnesota. That's interesting right now. Hopefully that calms down.
Yeah.
Craziness going on over there.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever come through the Colorado area, man, let me know, because I would love to help promote it and go see you guys and support it. Kids will get a kick.
That'd be awesome. It was funny you said it too, because Sarah and I were just talking about Colorado, that we were watching a show earlier, and they were it was like the craziest like waves and I guess I would say hobbies, like dangerous hobbies. And it was like people surfing, and then others was people skiing in Colorado, like all these big mountains and stuff, ski resorts. And I've never skied in my life. I've never done that one time. But I was talking to her, I was like, man, it'd be cool to go to Colorado for a week and try that. I said, I'm going to start off small. I'm going to start on a little hill and make sure.
I've never done it either, man. I'm from the dirty bayous. I've done a lot of water skiing, but not snow skiing. So we might try that.
How long have you been in Colorado?
We just made a year a couple of weeks ago. I moved around for work, and I worked in the oil field, and I just got laid off right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm getting out of the oil field now.
That sucks.
Yeah. I'm going to do something different. I'm probably going to become a mailman or something like that, and just
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. It's guaranteed. And trust me, you're not the only one in the boat, man. Like I said, I lost all my summer shows. So
yeah, that hurts, man.
It's tough. I mean, we're all in the same boat, man. We're all in this together, and it's a sucky time for everybody. And you know what? Just keep your head up, and that's how I do it. I mean,
appreciate that. It's we're in history right now, man. This stuff's going to go down forever in our timeline. It's nuts.
Yes, without a doubt, for sure.
Let's jump into the 6 questions, and I'll cut you loose, man. I appreciate you giving me all the time you have.
Oh, no worries.
Let's see. You know what? Let's go ahead and change the background too, since I'm talking to a wildlife man from Florida. Let's make the background more wildlife looking.
Hey, that almost looks like the picture on my banner.
It might be. I took it off of Google Images. Now I'm back in the swamp. All right. Number 1. What movie can you watch over and over again without getting tired of?
Can you guess it? Think about it. Come on.
Crocodile Dundee.
You got it.
Did I get it? First try?
You got it. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, brother. That's a great movie.
Both of them. It's the first one. Crocodile Dundee one, though. That's the one I could sit there and watch.
Yeah, that's constantly. The best one.
The other one, the last one, like the one in LA and stuff, I don't
No, we're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah, but
That's
the
like
first
Godfather
two, though,
Part 3. We don't talk about that one either.
exactly. The first two, though, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my wife and kids and I were talking about we're doing family movie night once a week right now, and been trying to introduce them to the stuff I grew up with. That's like really good, wholesome, good movies. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the next one, Crocodile Dundee. They're gonna
That's
love
awesome.
that. My little
Heck
girls
yeah.
are obsessed with Indiana Jones right now too, which makes me so proud. Like,
That's
can
awesome.
we watch Temple of Doom again? Like, sure you can, kids.
Most kids their age don't even know what that is.
I know.
So that's good.
It makes me proud. I love it. All right, good, great choice. Number 2, what's the best practical joke that you've been played? Jesus, I butchered that one. What's the best practical joke that you've played on someone or that has been played on you?
All right, so growing up, you're into reptiles. What is the one thing that you'll have dead in the freezer for your reptiles?
Rodents.
So what I did as a joke or a prank, I took a dead mouse or rat, whichever one it was, and I taped it to the inside of my parents' toilet,
God.
right on the
my
seat. So I didn't leave it. So I actually taped string to it. So when they lifted the seat, the rat flung when they
That's
lifted
awesome.
the seat up. Needless to say, at first they hated it, but after the fact, it was pretty funny. And I did it on numerous occasions, but I spaced them out though. So it wasn't just something that happened constantly.
That's really good.
But,
I think that one might take the lead as the new best prank.
It was quite comical.
Are your parents afraid of rodents at all?
My dad, no. My mom, yeah, she don't care for it too much.
Yeah. What about reptiles? Is she cool with reptiles?
No, both of them are pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They didn't have a choice.
Yeah. My mom was terrified of reptiles and rodents, all that stuff still. And I grew up catching the anoles and putting them in my sock drawers, and she'd go to change my socks as a kid, and a anole would jump out on her. I drove her nuts as a kid, but she still talks about that.
That's awesome.
Well, if I did that rat trick to my mom, I would be dead right now.
I didn't know how it was going to go, honestly, when it first happened, but
yeah, I got to try that one. Hopefully my wife doesn't watch this episode so I can get her with it first.
You got to make sure, though, you do the string not too long, but short enough to where it gets that good pop in there when you lift the toilet seat. So.
Oh, my oldest daughter would probably jump out of the window. She's so scared of everything lately. That would be so funny.
That's funny as heck.
We're gonna have some good times. All right, number 3. If you could time travel one time there and back, which time period would you choose?
Does it have to be like could it be something in my childhood that I'd want to go back to do, or are you talking more of a time period?
Yeah, either one's fun. That sounds even more interesting.
Yeah, I would say, like I said, the best part of my life really was the native village, growing up at the small zoo. And, like I said, I spent there from 11 years old till I was about 25 years old, roughly. So I spent almost my entire life there at that facility. And that's where, I met Sarah originally. She volunteered for me. And my mentor, Skeet, who took me under his wing. Hey.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Needless to say, she was like 9, and I was like,
okay. You ruined this terrible. It made me a monster now. I'm going to edit that out. God.
But, Native Village, though, it had a big impact on my life. And that's where I got to meet my mentor. And then, and he passed away years back. But, I would say going back to my childhood to those days, because my mentor would be around and, just relive a couple of those days would be pretty amazing.
Yeah, that would be cool. What was your mentor's name?
His name was Mike, but they called him Skeet.
Skeet.
So
cool.
Yeah.
That's
like
awesome.
skeet shooting. Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So skeet shooting.
I like how you had to explain that. I was fine with it, and you made me have to think about it more. That's
my
funny.
God.
Number 4. What is something that really irritates you?
I don't know if anybody else has the same thing, but what really is a pet peeve of mine and I can't stand is when people touch the headliner of my pickup truck.
Headliner.
The inside cab, the cab on the inside, the roof of the cab on the inside.
Yeah.
the material on the top there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I cannot stand when people touch that damn thing.
My dad's was always like that with the vehicles too, because we had a station wagon that had like a tear, and then it started catching air in it, and then the material would start blowing down. And ever since we had that one vehicle, my dad as a Nazi would touching the interior of the top. So.
All my buddies and everyone messes with me because they'll get in and they'll just like put a finger on it.
Oh, it's messed up.
It drives me insane. I can't stand it.
Where does it stem from?
Black. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm definitely not a compulsive, I'm not that clean of a person, but I'm not messy. But, I really don't know. It's just something that I just don't like people doing. It's like, why?
Yeah.
You don't need to touch that. It's up there. Your hands are on your lap. No reason.
Keep your damn hands to yourself.
Exactly.
That's funny. I like that. It's very, very original. All right, number 5. What is an item in your home that is special to you for sentimental reasons?
I would say probably the most sentimental thing I own would be my alligator tooth necklace.
Okay, cool. Let's hear the story.
So going back to my mentor, Skeet, it was gifted to me when I was real young, and it's just been a prized possession of mine. And especially when he died, it definitely took a lot more of a meaning to me. And I don't take it off. I sleep in it. I shower in it, everything. I don't. And I mean, this is heavy and it never comes off ever.
That's cool,
and
man.
The only time I took it off, the last time, was when I went to Costa Rica. So, because when I went to Belize, couple years before that, we went into one of the Belize Zoo, which is actually pretty funny because I'm wearing the Belize Zoo shirt.
Nice.
We went into the Belize Zoo and they wouldn't let me in the zoo with the tooth around my neck. And they thought it was a jaguar tooth. And it's a lot. Poachers kill those animals and sell those teeth like on the black market and stuff. And I'm like, listen, it's an alligator tooth. And the guy looked at me straight out. He goes, you're not going in if it's on your neck. So he let me tuck it in. But they were, a couple friends of mine, they were afraid that I wasn't going to be able to get it back into the country, from being there. They were going to take it from customs. And I'm like, well, then I'm going to become a resident of Belize, But I got in no problem. So now when I travel, out of the country somewhere, I don't bring it, just in case. And, we're always stomping through the jungles and the rainforest. And God forbid, ever broke off, I would piss me off. So that's the only time I take it off. Yeah, just a real big, thick silver chain.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Really cool to hear that. I've seen that on you, and I've been wondering about that. They had some special meaning behind it. It's good to know that.
Had a long time.
Yeah. Number 6, last question. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
I would say, dating back, I would say probably when Sarah and I bought our first home. That was probably the most accomplished thing we felt ever that we did. Secondly, I would say is the road shows, with Scales, Tails, and Teeth, being able to travel the country and being able to educate and taking, like you said earlier, taking people that may not like reptiles or, are unfamiliar with them and getting them to change their opinion about these animals. That's a big accomplishment is when, even like I said, if it's 1 out of those 10 people, if that one person leaves there saying, I want a pet snake or, I want a pet lizard, we did our job. We're out here trying to be ambassadors and speakers for these type of animals. They all need a voice. And unfortunately, animals can't talk. So they're not able to defend themselves. So it needs people, like us that can do that for them. And that's probably one of the biggest accomplishments I would say is that, being able to
awesome one
share
too.
that, on a big message.
Yeah.
River, come here.
River,
come here.
River and Raven. Huh?
Come here.
Cool names.
River.
She got a comb?
River. Yeah, she does. It's the only one she cannot break.
Yeah, same with my dog, man. My dog just got neutered like 3 days ago, and he is so bummed out, man. It is hilarious. He's like, he went from the happiest, hyperest dog to like, he just seriously looks like a depressed human. I'm like, dude, I feel so bad for you. I'm so glad, glad your mom brought you.
Too.
Yeah. He's holding a
What kind
grudge
of dog?
against.
What kind of
It's
dog is it?
Australian Shepherd, and
Okay.
it's my wife took him and picked him up from the vet, so he's holding the grudge against her, and she was so stuck up her butt before this. Everything she did, he was like her shadow, and he is
Oh
so
my God.
butthurt against her right now. It's hilarious. I'm like, I got the upper hand now. The dog likes me more, so deal with it.
That's right.
He
Yeah, we
keeps
got
coming
3
to me.
dogs. We have a pit bull, we have a blackmouth cur, and then Raven, the first one you saw. She's like lab with pit or something in her. But,
Yeah,
you know,
dogs are awesome.
yeah, they're awesome. Those are Sarah's pride and joys. She would push me out the door before the dog. So
that's your guys' kids, huh? Do you guys have kids yet?
we do not. No.
Okay, that's your kids for
The
sure.
dogs and the animals.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know how that
It's
goes,
enough
man.
right now.
It's a lot of work, a lot of love for them too. That's all
For
I
sure.
have for you. I want to plug your stuff too. You have the YouTube channel, which I'm excited to start watching more of. Into the Wild with Jimmy Riffle, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
I'll put links.
We
to
try
all
to
this as
post
well.
every Thursday. That's what we try to do. We post every Thursday. I try to post like in the evenings on Thursday.
Well, that's a
I might
commitment.
change it, but I've been good on it so far. With this pandemic stuff, it's been tough because we're not traveling. So I've been doing a lot of interactions with like the fans and like subscribers. I've been letting them ask for the animals. Like I'll make a list and they'll pick one of them and I'll do it on that animal. So,
cool.
I've been doing like interactive stuff like that. But yeah, check it out. The YouTube channel, like I said, it's fun, exciting. If you like reptiles, animals in general, this would be your channel.
Very informative stuff. Really good stuff.
Thank you.
You do the smart thing, and you say the common name, but you put the scientific name under it. That's what I would do.
I do. Yeah. I try to do that.
They can research it if they want to.
Exactly. It's there. Can't say it's not.
Yep.
So.
If I can request an episode, I'd love to see you and your wife do a road cruising episode. That'd be a lot of fun to watch.
We've actually been working on doing that. Because the problem is, how it is when you go herping.
Sporadic.
You'll go some nights and you'll see a lot, and those are the nights you didn't film.
Mm-hmm.
And then nights that you do film, you'll see a frog jump on the road, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we're basically going to take, I think, numerous nights and make them into a night, or just say that this is from a month of snake hunting or something, herping.
Yeah.
But we are planning on doing something like that soon.
That'd be awesome. Anybody that just listening and is interested in this stuff and doesn't really know what road cruising is or new to it, you can go weeks without seeing anything cool. Like you said, just a toad or a frog jumping. So it definitely takes time. My wife's spoiled. She got to see a milk snake on her first night doing it. That doesn't happen every time. But, in the last month, we probably did 6 nights where we didn't see crap, like nothing, just roadkill, bull snakes. Yep. Oh, you mentioned earlier, so I want to touch on this real fast, about the big Burmese python. That reminded me of like how you don't feel that it should be terminated. People, you got to realize too that when these animals get this big, even just bull snakes, which is common up here in Colorado, they get to be about 6 feet long. And we saw one the other night on the road while we were road cruising, and I put my hazards on and stopped because it was in my lane and there was no way to go around it with the car behind me. And if I would have went around it, the car behind me would have smoked it. So I just stopped. I said, screw it. They can go around me. I made sure he was safe. We relocated him to a safe spot nearby. And that snake has lived several years to get to that size. They go through so much to get to that point, and they're important. They're important for the ecosystem. They're at the breeding stages. Turtles, the same thing. You see a big turtle, don't run it over. There's people that purposely hit turtles, which drives me absolutely nuts.
Yep.
If you can't avoid it safely, please avoid it safely. You don't have to get out of your vehicle and put yourself at risk. Just don't purposely hit stuff. Those animals, it takes them a long time to get to these ages, and they're very important to the ecosystem. And a lot of them, turtles especially, are moving to go to another body of water or to lay eggs. So that's very important to not hit them.
And you know what? Bottom line, they were here first. So, we're living in their home. So. And
they'll be here longer than us, most likely, too.
Well, we hope so. Yeah.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
They'll outlive humans because humans are out to get each other for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
What else can we plug, Jimmy?
Roadshow. Scalestailsandteeth.com. Check it out. That's my roadshow company. If anybody's listening, we do travel. Like I said, we do fairs, festivals, powwows, different events. If you know anybody that wants anything like that, you can reach out to our website and go to the tab Book a Show, and you can fill it out, and hopefully we can come to a show near you and bring some cool reptiles.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You said you do birthday parties locally too?
Locally, we do. We don't do it on the road because it's just not cost effective. It's
right.
For us to travel. I try not to charge a lot for the birthday parties because I try to do something affordable when it comes to, I still want people to enjoy these animals. But, like I said, that we're all still, that money's going to, the animals and us. We're living on everything that we're making. So, we have to make sure that it's worth it. That's why the birthday parties I try to keep within like a few hours of where we live, so I can keep the price level low. But
yeah, you got to remember too, the man has a business to withhold and family to feed himself, and these beautiful dogs behind him.
That's right. She's chewing that Kong ball like it's going out of style.
Loving it.
No, she's the star right now on the show.
Yeah, this is a very animal friendly show, so she's welcome for sure. Well, Jimmy, it's been great talking with you, man. I really appreciate you, everything you're doing. You and Sarah and your whole family are great people. Continue doing what you're doing. We love it. Anything I can do to help support you guys on the Colorado side or Louisiana, let me know. I'd love to help you guys with the shows. And we're going to push your YouTube channel as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. We appreciate it. And likewise, man, if I can do anything for you guys, hopefully if you come to Florida, let us know. We'll take you out and we'll do that YouTube video too, going out snake hunting and just cruising around. So
yeah, we'll have to do that on an Arizona trip, man. Let's make it happen.
That's for sure. Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We want to go back soon. She's huge into Tombstone. Well, I am too, but she's big time into the Tombstone thing, and we've been there a few times. She was just there more recent than myself, and we've been wanting to plan a trip out that way again. So
yeah, they're Tombstone, the Western. Is that what you're talking about?
Tombstone, Arizona. Yeah, the Tombstone movie. Yeah. So the movie Tombstone was filmed in Tombstone, Arizona, where the actual Tombstone's at.
Yeah. Doc Holliday is actually buried not too far from where we live, like in between here
to
Grand Junction. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely coming then because, hey, babe, come here for a minute. You're going to see Sarah. Hang on. There's Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
So Doc Holliday is buried where?
He's buried in between like the Denver to Grand Junction area. I forget the actual town.
Denver and Grand Junction is buried between there, near his house where Doc Holliday's buried.
Really? Yeah.
We'll stay at your house.
He said we're going to stay at your house.
Hey, you're welcome to. We have a guest bedroom, so our whole basement is set up for guests. You guys are always welcome. Bye, Sarah. Good to see you. Yeah, that's something I'm interested in too as well. I love history, and the Western stuff is amazing. When somebody told me that Doc Holliday was buried here, I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. I got to make a trip to go see that. So we went look for collared lizards and I forgot what other species it was last summer in Grand Junction, but we didn't make it to that Doc Holliday Memorial area. I would love to go see that though.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
very
cool deal, man. Well, Jimmy, take care, brother. I appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you back on anytime you want. You are our Gator Boy, man, the go-to Gator Boy.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for having me. And like I said, let me know. And I'll be more than happy to do it, okay?
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, guys. All right, see you, buddy. Have a good one.